Hey everyone, Steve Grogan here, founder of Geek Wing Chun Mental Health and Self-Esteem. Today we're going to go over pillar number 5 of Dr. Nathaniel Branden's 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. It's called The Practice of Living Purposefully. If you've never been here before, this is a sister channel to Geek Wing Chun. I'll put the link to that in the description box. As for why I created a secondary channel for this mental health and self-esteem stuff, that's in the intro video to this channel. I'll put a link to that in the description box as well, rather than go through it all here. So anyway, if mental health and self-esteem are of interest to you, even if Wing Chun's not of interest to you, hit the subscribe button and smash the bell icon. You'll be notified about mental health and self-esteem stuff here. So the practice of living purposefully is pillar 5. That means we use our powers to attain the goals we set for ourselves. To live purposefully is to be concerned with these questions on page 131. What am I trying to achieve? How am I trying to achieve it? Why do I think these means are appropriate? Does the feedback from the environment convey that I'm succeeding or failing? Is there new information that I need to consider? Do I need to make adjustments in my course or in my strategy or in my practices? Do my goals and purposes need to be rethought? And that's the last question actually, but the last sentence in the paragraph is, thus, to live purposefully means to live at a high level of consciousness. So, it's interesting that he goes on to point out how it's easier for people to understand these ideas as applied to work, but not to intimate relationships. For some reason, people feel when it comes to intimacy, it should just come naturally, and if you have to quote-unquote think about it or force it, then it's not natural, and you didn't really mean it, you weren't sincere, yada, yada, yada. So, let's see here. We've got excerpt that's called self-discipline. It's actually a subheading here. I said, see the self-discipline excerpt. I don't know if I really meant to read the whole thing, but let's see. I'll read as much as I think you should hear. To live purposefully and productively requires we cultivate within ourselves a capacity for self-discipline. Self-discipline is the ability to organize our behavior over time in the service of specific tasks. No one can feel competent to cope with the challenges of life who's without the capacity for self-discipline. Self-discipline requires the ability to defer immediate gratification in the service of a remote goal. This is the ability to project consequences into the future, to think, plan, and live long range. Neither an individual nor a business can function effectively, let alone flourish, in the absence of this practice. I should mention a purposeful, self-disciplined life does not mean a life without time or space for rest, relaxation, recreation, random, or even frivolous activity. It merely means that such activities are chosen consciously with the knowledge that it's safe and appropriate to engage in them. And in any event, the temporary abandonment of purpose also serves a purpose, that of regeneration. So that's what I wanted to read about self-discipline, and that's very relevant to martial artists who can't see why we're practicing punches like this, 1,000 punches a day, just like that, you know. 133 to 135, he goes over what living purposefully entails, although I'm only going to just read down the list to you, not the deep dives. I can go into the deep dive of each one of these again for further material at a later date. If you want me to, then hit the subscribe, or leave a comment saying so. It entails taking responsibility for formulating one's goals and purposes consciously, being concerned to identify the actions necessary to achieve one's goals, monitoring behavior to check that it's in alignment with one's goals, paying attention to the outcomes of one's actions to know whether they are leading where one wants to go. Also, you know, achieving your goals, don't mistake it to mean the measure of your worth is based on external achievements. The root of self-esteem is in the internal practices that allow us to achieve those things. And of course, closes out with sentence completion to facilitate living purposefully. So there you have it. Pillar 5, the practice of living purposefully. Next week we're going to go over Pillar 6, which is of course the final pillar. So hit subscribe, smash the bell icon, and I'll see you in the next video.